Welcome back to my workshop, and this is part 2 of the wedding ring box project, and in this video I show you how to do a little bit of resin work, encasing 2 little copper rings inside the top of the box, and also a solution to a couple of problems I had. So let's crack on with that. So here's my 2 rings interlocking like that, which is exactly what I wanted. Now they're going to go inside here somehow like this, okay, with resin over the top. That's the plan. Right, I suppose I should mix up some resin. Right, so let's mix up some resin. Now I'm using this stuff as usual. I haven't got much of it left. This is Glass Cast 1050 with Glass Cast 10 hardener. Now normally I do it by volume, but this time I'm going to do it by weight. So I bought myself nice little Pro Cook weighing scales. Now what I'll do is I'll measure out, because I'm doing it by weight, I've got to do 100 of those to 45 of those, or a ratio of that. Okay, so let's measure some out. All I want is enough to fill up inside the lid. So zero that. Let's go into this. So it's 40 of those. Okay, so now I've mixed up my resin. It's been mixing for a couple of minutes, quite a few bubbles in there, but I can get these out. Now all I want to do is float it in here, just using a ruler or a rule to make sure that none of the rings are sitting proud of the wood. Let's pour this in and see what happens. Alright, as you can see there's a few bubbles in there. I'm just going to use my little blowtorch to try and get rid of some of the bubbles, hopefully. Very gently heating it because I don't really want to burn the wood. Oh, still bubbles in it. Alright, I'll leave that for a couple of minutes and then do it again. Alright, so I've given that another couple of little blasts with the hot air gun. Yeah, seems bubble free. Looks like it's soaked into the wood a little bit around the edges here. I'll have to deal with that later. Right, I'm going to leave that for 24 hours. It's on a flat surface, so hopefully it will dry flat. Right, let's come back to that all tomorrow. Desk is a bit of a mess. I guess I better tidy that up. Right, it's Tuesday night. I've left the resin setting overnight, so it's 24 hours it's had. So hopefully that'll be hard enough. I've had a bit of a tidy up. The bench is now clear because it was getting a bit of a disaster. But it's freezing cold in the workshop now, so I've got my little heater, this little heater here, chucking out as much heat as it can. It's doing a okay job of warming up the workshop, but I won't be out here for long. Right, let's have a quick look at the resin. Right, so we've had a little tiny bit of a disaster here. It's not too bad, I think we can live with it. What's happened is the resin has actually sunk a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. So it's now coated the rings, so there's no rings actually sticking out, but the resin has dropped down. Now the reason the resin has dropped down is because there was a teeny tiny little pinhole through the wood, and basically it's soaked through over the course of the evening, and of course that's dropped this. Now if I really don't like it, I can possibly mix up a little teeny tiny bit more resin and float that on the top, but I might actually finish this off and see what it looks like afterwards. Another thing to remember, if you're using resin, make sure you clean up afterwards. because I didn't. I thought I'd be clever and just stuck this bit of pipe in what was left of the resin. My idea was to break this out and then just throw it away, and then this will be nice and clean. But resin is pretty strong stuff. There's no way I can break that out. So now this is rubbish unless I can think of a use for it. But yeah, don't try and be clever. Just clean up after yourself. Right, okay, what I plan to do now is cut these heart shapes out, because obviously I've only cut down this far. What I'll do is I'll either cut that at this level, or with the base I might even do it full size and then finish this off with a router bit. But basically I need it now to be the heart shape. With the top I do need to cut it off here, and then in theory that'll expose the back side of this resin, so you'll be able to see right the way through. Right, I've quickly cut out the heart shapes. I've quickly run around here with a router bit to get it all the rough edges off. Obviously needs a lot of sanding now, especially in this corner here. So that's about the size of that one. Yeah, it's getting out, loads more sanding to do. The top obviously I've cut out the same. I've cut this narrower obviously because I wanted to cut out and expose the resin on the back. Now the idea is this is a bit foggy at the moment, but once I polish this up you should be able to see through it. Let's get a bit of light behind it. Yeah, so you should be able to see through it like this. Okay, but obviously that needs a lot of polishing. So that's how far I've got now. What I've done though is while I was sanding it with the random orbital sander, I've lent a bit too heavy on one side. So this side is slightly thinner than this side, and that results in a bit of a tippiness here. Okay, it's noticeably thinner on one side than it is in the other. So I've got to find a way of flattening this off all the way across. But that's about the size of it at the moment. Right, bit of an unscheduled problem. Because this is thinner on this side than this side, I've got to find a method of leveling this off. Now obviously I want the back now to be flush with the front, so let's find a method of flattening that. Right, so I think the best way to do this would be to use a piece of 18mm MDF, which is just an offcut. What I'll do is I'll route out the heart shape, yeah, approximately the heart shape. So route out that heart shape down to the depth of the thinnest part of this. So the thinnest part of this we can quickly check is this side, and the thinnest part is 10.9mm. So route out this to a depth of 10.9mm, then this can sit in there, obviously this way up, and then what I can do is use this surface to sand across and use this surface as my reference. So let me cut this shape out and then you'll see what I mean. Right, so now the jig is made. I'm going to take my lid. This is the surface that I want to sand down. This now fits in here like this, and you can now see it's at the lowest point here it's flush, but at the highest point here it's proud by 2 or 3mm. So what I'm going to do is now sand this and get it flat. But so I don't go too far, what I'm going to do is mark up with the pencil. Just basically put some scribble marks on here so I can see if I've sanded too much of the jig away. Okay. Okay. So if the pencil marks start disappearing, then I can see I've gone too far. So this now sits in here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, first of all, here is some 40 grit sandpaper, then some 120, then some 180, and then finish it off with some 320. Okay, and that should give me a nice flat surface. Okay, so let's crack on with that. Before I crack on with that, the only way I can get this out in a minute is by pulling out this bit. Now, of course, the only reason I can pull that out is because it's sitting proud. When I've sanded it down, I'm not going to be able to get it out again. So what I'm going to do is take a Forstner bit and drill a hole in the middle so then I can push it out with my finger afterwards. Okay, so just thinking ahead. That's what we do. Okay, so right, after that exercise, it is now flat, which is a good thing. So if we check it with the calipers, we've now got consistent readings all the way around, which is what we wanted, yeah, because that was really annoying. So now this is a bit more flush on there. Okay, so let's move on to the next bit. Right, so this has been sitting here for a couple of days and no one's come along and finished it for me, so I guess I've got to finish it. What I want to do now is concentrate on the bottom. Now, on the bottom, this little bit here, yeah, there's a little bit inside there that I can't really get to sand properly. I could try and get in there with a bit of sandpaper, but I'd end up rubbing flats on it, which is not very good. And I can't sand it using what I would normally use, which would be my sanding disc. Obviously I could do most of the profile, yeah, I could do most of it, but I can't actually get in here because it's too tight. This is too thick. So what I need is a mini version of this. So let's move over here. So what I intend to do is use an angle grinder. Okay, I put a thin sanding disc on it. Okay, this is my Work Zone cordless angle grinder, which is fantastic. And what I've done is got my piece of wood, or MDF, cut a small slice in it, and I'll show you how I'm going to set this up. Okay, so what it's given me is a mini version of my sanding disc with obviously the sanding disc is thinner, so I should be able to get in here like this and sand it. Let's give that a shot. Right, okay, that was relatively successful. I managed to cut that out here. The problem is my video camera decided to auto rotate, so the video was on its side, but take my word for it, it did work. Right, let's move on to the next bit. Right, still working on the bottom. What I want to do now is this face here is very slightly uneven. What I want to do is sand it. The problem is, okay, I've set up a bit of sandpaper here. If I sand it like this and hold it like this, the chances are I'm going to tip it. And if I tip it, then what will happen is I'll end up where I was before. One side will be sanded more than the other. So what I'm going to do is use a bit of sandpaper like this, stuck to the bench with a bit of masking tape. And I'm going to use one of these, which is a bench dog. Now normally this is used just for putting on your bench to put a piece of wood on it to stop it moving around. Now I'm going to use this so I can actually put it on top, then the pressure is in the middle and it grips it. So then I can do this and the pressure is even. So I'm going to get on with some of this sanding and then hopefully it will be flat. Hopefully. Okay, again, that sort of worked. It's a lot more flush now. Hope you can see this. Okay, let's not waste any more time on that. Let's move on to the next bit. Right, next step. I want to put some hinges on the back here, so it opens like this. Now I've been searching everywhere for some very small hinges, and I couldn't find any anywhere. So obviously I could get some online, but then I need to get it done now. So I quickly rushed out and bought one of these, which is a box. It cost me £1.50. Yeah, from the works. Now on this box I get a clasp and I get two nice little hinges. So what I'm going to do, it's only £1.50, which is cheaper than I'd pay for two hinges anyway. So I'm going to whip these hinges off and use them. Let's do that.